From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 6, The Rock reconsidered how tourist Trump supporters see the plan to convert Alcatraz back into a prison now that they've taken the tour themselves.
Plus, a railroad restoration, how a landmark locomotive is making its way back to Mount Tam, a century after it stopped running.
Later, it's the kickoff of Carnaval this weekend. Meet one dance troupe making their debut. Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco, I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. Memorial Day weekend typically marks the unofficial start of summer and the start of San Francisco's economy, tourism.
5 years after the initial COVID shutdown, the Bay Area's tourism industry still has not fully rebounded to pre-2019 levels, especially when it comes to international visitors from Asia. But some San Francisco attractions are thriving, including Alcatraz. Dial hopped on the boat to the Rock and found out that not everybody is on board with the plan of converting it back to a prison.
Alcatraz is a huge moneymaker for the feds, and there's so many people in town for the holiday weekend. All Alcatraz tours are sold out until Tuesday. So I asked people how they would feel if they turned this moneymaker back into a prison. The National Park Service reports roughly 1.6 million people visit Alcatraz each year.
We're just excited to see the history of the island.
Infamy, isolation, and escape stories from one of America's most secure prisons have made Alcatraz a tourist hotspot and a favorite Hollywood backdrop.
No one has ever escaped from Alcatraz. I'm in.
Now, a new plot twist. President Trump wants to turn it back into a federal prison.
If it could be utilized again, it might be a good idea, maybe.
Shannon Hari and her family from Ohio made their first visit to The Rock on Saturday.
It looks like where you get your stuff. You get, like when you check in as an inmate.
It didn't take long for them to see why many local and state officials are skeptical of the president's plan.
Now that you see this, there's no chance. It costs so much money.
Cost was exactly why the government shut down Alcatraz in 1963. Operating it was 3 times more expensive than a standard prison.
I was like, oh, that's an interesting thought. Sounds like the people are separated, keeps us safe, that piece. And when you kind of dig in and hear about the cost and see it, I wouldn't see the cost benefit.
The National Park Service says Alcatraz brings in around $60 million a year in tourism revenue.
A bridge too far, perhaps a prison too far in terms of trying to rebuild this. Most of the structures seem to be affected by the salt water.
Those against the idea say it should remain an iconic landmark.
I think it's a fear factor. It's something, big and sensational you can say on TV that people will cheer for because they know what Alcatraz is.
Shannon's husband, Charlie, worries taking it away from tourists could also hurt the local economy.
I thought it sounded like a pretty neat idea. Since being here, I don't know that it's feasible, but I kind of would still be for it just for the content of it, to be honest. I think it'd be a great story. I think it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out.
The family doesn't think it'll actually happen, but they're glad they saw it in person and formed their own opinions.
It makes more sense to make money than spend money on this, especially because you could do this somewhere else.
No one knows exactly how much it would cost to turn this back into an operating prison, but safe to assume it would be tens of millions of dollars. Prison officials say they do plan to return in the near future for another site visit.
We're also following a boat rescue near Crissy Field this afternoon. 9 people were aboard the Sea Scout ship Viking when it began to sink. They were holding on to the side of the boat when the San Francisco Fire Department arrived. All 9 were wearing life jackets as they were rescued. And you can see the captain here hanging on with the boat nearly capsized. The fire crew got the boat afloat, then had it towed to the aquatic pier. The sailors were part of the sailing club for high school girls.
Over in the East Bay, you might have noticed that there's a little bit of smoke if you were on the freeway near Livermore. That's because a fire broke out near eastbound 580 today. CHP told drivers to proceed with caution through the area. It's the second fire in a week in pretty much that same area.
Well, when the Marin County town of Mill Valley hosts its Memorial Day parade on Monday, it will feature a locomotive from days gone by. It once took visitors to the top of Mount Tam. Now it's back and is looking like the day it rolled into town for the very first time. John Ramos has the story.
It's been 100 years since engine number 9 began rumbling through the town of Mill Valley, but now it's back in all its glory, with a legacy of having turned a logging locomotive into one of the most popular tourist attractions of its day. It was homecoming day at the Mill Valley Depot Plaza. Old number 9 was back.
So it's 12 o'clock, it is time to ring the bell. And the trick is you gotta pull it and do around the world with it, okay? Before it left the station, the bell would ring, and so everybody knew in the surrounding area, all right, this train is leaving, and get on board.
The powerful steam engine began running in 1924, carrying passengers up Mount Tam for dinner at the top and spectacular views all the way up. Once there, passengers had a choice to take the train back down or ride the so-called gravity cars to the bottom. They never got over 12 miles per hour, but the sheer cliffs made for a thrilling journey. It operated until 1950 when a fire destroyed the Tavern Hotel on top, leaving the owners $40,000 in debt. So they sold number 9 to a logging company near Eureka.
This was the newest thing that they had, so they sold this quickly to make some money to pay the bills and get back in the black for 1924.
When it was finally retired, the locomotive ended up on display in the small town of Scotia, where it sat for decades, rusting away. Then, in 2018, a Mill Valley group called Friends of Number 9 bought it at auction, and for the past 7 years, they've been raising $500,000, while a pair of retired metal workers named the Melrick brothers brought the old engine back to life. Now it's been lovingly restored to the condition it was when it was 6 months old.
A lot of this is original. These gauges are original. We found this gauge. This is worth $10,000 right there.
And the technology was state-of-the-art at the time. This tank on top held sand that could be sprayed onto the track if the wheels should lose traction. And it converted fairly early from wood and coal to bunker oil so it wouldn't send embers up that could start a forest fire.
The railroad actually had ice cream in the early days of refrigeration, and that was a big deal. Talk about the, and then people talked about it today as being the Disneyland of its day.
Today, the engine is a memory from the past, but its future is uncertain. There isn't another one like this in this kind of condition in the world, but they don't really have a place to put it where it won't start decaying again. So the search continues, but Larry Lotzker knows where he wants to see it.
I say it's going to end up here. Personally, I'd like to have it be on the plaza where it lived. It all goes back to the mountain for me. So Mount Tam Muir Woods Railway celebrates one of the most beautiful places in the world. And this just reminds everyone.
Engine number 9 began as transportation, became a worldwide tourist attraction, and is now a cherished history lesson. It's been a long journey, 101 years in the making.
The engine will be on display at Mill Valley's Depot Plaza through the weekend. After the parade, it'll be moved to the California Museum in Sacramento for 6 months. Senator Adam Schiff was in Fresno today at a blueberry farm talking to farmers about the impact of tariffs on their business. California's agriculture industry has been under pressure ever since the White House imposed steep tariffs on other countries. Governor Gavin Newsom has said the state would look to negotiate its own independent trade agreements. Schiff is a member of the Senate's Agricultural Committee, the first Californian on the panel in more than 30 years.
Well, today, thousands of scouts out at the Golden Gate National Cemetery in San Bruno this afternoon for Memorial Day, paying their respects to thousands of troops who died on the battlefield and are buried there. They laid out around 50,000 flags, and the scouts, of course, say they're honored to be doing it.
A fundamental aspect of scouting is civic education and civic awareness and teaching these young people about what past generations have done in service to the country is a really important part of what we do in our program.
Thousands of veterans and their spouses are buried at the cemetery, including 15 Medal of Honor recipients.
Tens of thousands of people getting into the groove at the Shears Bottle Rock Music Festival in Napa Valley. Yesterday, Bay Area artists E40 and Green Day rocked the main stage, and tonight, headliners Justin Timberlake and Benson Boone are set to go. The festival wraps up tomorrow.
Well, it is that time of year again. Thousands of people out in San Francisco today celebrating the legacy of African, Caribbean, and Latin American cultures at Carnaval.
This was in the Mission District on Harrison Street. Festival goers got to watch a number of different performances happening at different stages throughout. One group from Santa Clara University was dancing in the streets, and one of them said she couldn't believe she was actually doing it.
It's honestly a dream. I grew up here in SF. I've come here a couple times with my family, so it was really cool we got this opportunity, and we're just really excited for everyone to see us perform.
Carnival celebrations continue tomorrow with the Grand Parade. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning on 24th and Bryant Streets.
And one group is making their Carnival debut this weekend, and Max Darrow was backstage to see how they got ready to take to the streets.
That's the most important part.
Connection.
Here we go.
Is at the core of Kuikakali. Connection to the rhythm, to the earth below, to one's culture. And this year, Jesus Cortez and his students will get to connect with a crowd they've never had the chance to connect with before.
I always work to bring my culture to the highest point that I can. So to me, it's a fabulous honor to be able to bring this culture, my culture, to San Francisco.
For the first time ever, Cortez and his students will get to perform their Mexican folklorico dance routine in the Carnaval parade.
We have about 50 dancers who is going to be performing with us, and we are super excited to now go and take the streets with Carnaval San Francisco here in the Mission District.
Many of his students have been with him since he started the dance group more than 15 years ago. That includes Fernanda Mercado, who started when she was 5.
Dance is just my passion. It's what I want to do forever.
She says it'll be an honor to perform in the Carnaval parade this year.
It's going to feel amazing. Bring it out first.
And she is especially proud.
You're right.
Of her connection to what you'll see in the Carnaval parade.
I'm really excited to showcase a choreography I'm going to make for one of our Carnaval pieces. That's really exciting for me to be able to choreograph a dance.
My goal is then through dance, through the culture, they can maintain and sustain their identity and feel proud of who they are.
Come parade day, Cortez says Kuikakali will complement Carnival's colorful collage of cultures.
So it's going to be amazing to be part of the parade.
A new way to connect with the community Cortez is proud to call home.
Viva Carnaval! Viva San Francisco!
And coming up, Hollywood in the Hills. New incentives to shoot movies here in San Francisco. But first, here's why they're shooting it in San Francisco.
Yeah, we got to talk about that weather. It's going to be great for Carnival tomorrow. You might have a bit of the marine layer around, but it's going to be exactly what you would expect for this time of year and what Carnival's always like. For the rest of us, that marine layer is going to get pretty far inland. So when we get back together again in the complete forecast, we'll talk about the impact this has on the weekend. We'll put some temperatures on this. The real story in the temperatures, though, might not really be until we get to the end of this 7-day. I'll show you another warm-up that is coming our way. Forecast coming up next.
Here we go up, baby.
Welcome back. From The Thin Man through Vertigo and Bullet and Dirty Harry and many more Star Trek 4. Many San Francisco has been the background for hundreds of Hollywood movies. Not so much lately. Still, Suji Nam says the city is trying to get the cameras rolling again. Watch.
From the classics to superheroes, San Francisco has been home to some of Hollywood's biggest hits. That's what drew Paul Kimyech to the city nearly 10 years ago with a camera gifted to him by his father.
He gave this to me when I was 13. He was a filmmaker, and he got this in 1968 from a mafia guy in Boston.
And he's now using the same 16mm camera to create films in San Francisco.
San Francisco, the film scene itself, it's very small and very familial.
While nearly 400 miles away from Hollywood, Kimyech found his own set, the magical backdrop of San Francisco.
This is a fun little campy tarot card music video shot between here and Davenport and Santa Cruz. A messed up film about a messed up relationship. Can't wait to premiere it here in the city.
San Francisco is not camera shy. God, where are you? From Marvel superheroes and The Matrix.
I always come back to the old house.
To award-winning films like Joe Talbot's The Last Black Man in San Francisco. But it hasn't all been lights, camera, action.
There's productions that often will be set here, but they're shooting in Vancouver, they're shooting in Australia, they're shooting really in Atlanta.
Manija Fatah, the head of the SF Film Commission, says there's been a decline in production statewide since the pandemic. That combined with an expensive price tag to film in the city. But productions have slowly been returning. The city has been offering the Scene in San Francisco rebate program, where crews film in the city and get up to $600,000 back for their expenses. Fatah adds she's optimistic with the 2 state bills on the floor right now that push for higher film tax refund statewide.
The tax credit right now is about 20 to 25%, and that doesn't compete nationally or internationally to drive more business here. So they're increasing it to up to 35%. And then there's an uplift if you shoot outside of the Los Angeles studio zone.
And filmmakers like Kim Yech agree, adding that San Francisco should become a hub for independent filmmakers. That in a time where AI and technology are emerging, he hopes the industry can focus on its roots.
Recognizing and rewarding filmmaking as that first and foremost crucial cultural asset.
So that San Francisco can continue to boldly represent itself in the film world.
Let's get you ready for this weekend. We've got so much going on outside. We had a wonderful start to the weekend. Let's get you into Sunday. I want to show you how that will look. Pretty clear looking skies out there now. But a lot should happen when we put the fog on here and we look at the high resolution satellite. There's a patch of marine layer. This is live satellite right now, and you've got this patch of marine layer just hanging out along the San Mateo County coastline, and that extends all the way down to the Santa Cruz Mountains. There's even a little patch of it here that's starting to build inland. Let's put that into the futurecast. Watch what happens between now and tomorrow morning. We're going back into May gray. So we've had this for the last 2 mornings. We wake up, we get the marine layer that's come pretty far inland. Tomorrow it's going a little bit farther inland than it has been. So more of us will wake up to this to start the day for the forecast on Sunday. I'm going to put this in context for Carnival and the rest of the weekend in 1 second. We'll get specific. But first, let's take a look at the impact this will have in terms of temperatures. We'll take a look at tomorrow's color contours on here, and I'll just get everybody's daytime high on here. This is pretty much no different than what you just did. So Saturday and Sunday are almost identical. Monday's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little windier, but you're going to get more sun, and you'll probably even warm up, but you may not notice the warm up because of the wind that's going to set up. First, let's see how things are going to play out tomorrow for Carnival. So what we're looking at was the Bay as a whole. Here's the forecast for the Mission District, and it's going to be in the mid to upper 50s. It'll be marine layery. I think you'll get some patches there. The Mission is oftentimes shielded on that side of the city. So instead of an all gray out, maybe you'll get kind of like the patchiness, little cotton balls of clouds floating by, the kind of stuff that makes a real pretty sky. It's going to be a great day out there for Carnival. And as a contrast, Bottle Rock and anywhere else that's inland tomorrow, those are your numbers. Mid-50s in the city, mid to upper 70s inland for the next couple of days. Let's talk about that Monday change. I'll show you why it's going to be just a little different when we take a look at the imagery on here. Watch what shows up late Sunday night into Monday. There's a weak cold front right there. The rain totally falls apart. We're not getting rain out of it, but you can see the organization to that. That's a very well-organized cold front. Going to march its way across the bay on Monday morning early and get out of here by the afternoon. Watch the clouds clear out as we get into the afternoon there. That's Monday. Plenty of sunshine. Let's come back to the virtual map. It's going to be sunny. The temperatures on the thermometer might even be a little bit warmer as a result of that, but there's one element that needs to be discussed as a side effect of the cold front having gone through. Watch what the wind streams are going to do. It's going to get a bit breezier on Monday. So it's a bit of a trade-off. The whole weekend is great, really, but there are some subtle differences and nuances. Keep your outdoor plans for Monday. It'll be sunnier, but it's going to be a bit breezy, and as a result, could feel a little cooler. Here's that 70 forecast, the end of which is anything but cooler. Look back here. 90 coming back by the time we get to the end of next week. So we're not going to do that until we get towards Friday, but there is another warm-up coming our way. It should hold on for at least part of next weekend, but a bigger jump, really more noticeable from Thursday into Friday.
This time next week, golfers at the U.S. Women's Open will know if they made the cut line or not, and one local high schooler is hoping she'll be teeing it up.
18-year-old Sarah Lim has only played golf for 6 years.
Like that feeling of accomplishment when you know you played well or you hit a good shot or you executed how you wanted to, like I think that's always been something like so gratifying to me.
Despite only picking up the club for the first time when she was 12, she has her eyes set on one of golf's most prestigious events.
It hasn't even hit really until I maybe get there, so I think just walking into the US Open, I'm just gonna be wide-eyed.
The Saratoga High School senior qualified for the Women's U.S. Open, finishing in a tie for first place at a qualifier at the Olympic Club.
Knowing that I am playing my best, I am capable of doing such great things, I think 12-year-old me would definitely feel very encouraged, very proud.
It's a tiny bit against the grain, right?
When Sarah travels to the major, her dad, James, will be on the bag as her caddy.
It's a major, it's a professional event, and so super, super proud of it.
It's really special, you know, he's been like on my golf journey since the beginning. He's with me on the range. He's the person I text if I'm like really need some desperate help.
James wasn't surprised that Sarah had success so quickly.
I remember the first pro lesson that we went to when she first started, he was like, I don't believe that you've never actually picked up a club before.
While she might be one of the newest and youngest golfers at Erin Hills, she's ready to give it her all.
I want to make the cut, want to hopefully make low-am, but it's my first US Open, but I feel like that means I will be back, and hopefully.
I'll speak for myself here, but at 18, I don't think I did anything close to accomplishing the qualification for the U.S. Open.
Yeah. You?
Yeah, you're quite the golfer. Well, I played tennis.
So you qualified?
Yeah, for nothing.
For nothing. All right. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. Here's what's going on around the country.
President Trump was in West Point today for commencement, stressing a new era for the military.
You will become officers in the greatest and most powerful army the world has ever known. And I know because I rebuilt that army and I rebuilt the military. And we rebuilt it like nobody has ever rebuilt it before in my first term.
Mr. Trump also said the days of, quote, nation-building crusades in countries that wanted nothing to do with us were over. At the border, the Trump administration continued to push its aggressive deportation efforts, sending hundreds of border agents to help ICE arrest unauthorized immigrants. The move is expected to involve about 500 officers with U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The president called the effort the largest deportation operation in U.S. history. Popular Mexican singer Julian Alvarez had to cancel his concert in Texas tonight after his visa was allegedly revoked. According to CNN, Alvarez and his band were scheduled to perform at a sold-out concert, but was informed early yesterday that his work visa had been revoked. The State Department declined to comment on the case. The show's promoter is planning to reschedule the concert and offer refunds for those who can't attend the new date.
In Mexico, the first Palestinian refugees are arriving. You can see families being welcomed by a committee of pro-Palestinian activists and a mariachi band waving Palestinian flags. At the same time, the world is expressing outrage as Israel bombs the home of a Palestinian doctor, killing 9 of her children. One child survived. She operated on the injured boy herself. Dr. Alaa al-Najjar was working in the emergency room when the bodies of 7 of her 10 children arrived at the hospital. A fellow doctor said it was unbelievably cruel that the pediatrician lost almost all of her own children in a single strike. Israel has killed more than 50,000 Palestinians in 19 months, most of them women and children.
Well, tomorrow marks 5 years since George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis police custody. Today, the city is remembering the man whose death became a rallying cry for police reform across the country. As Wendy Gillette reports, today's Rise and Remember Festival continues that call for change.
5 years later, a moment of silence was held in George Floyd Square, a permanent memorial in Minneapolis to ensure the city never forgets.
Let us march on till victory is won.
Earlier, religious leaders sang.
And I thank God for the call to take to the streets and to fight for justice.
And shared reflections about the meaning of George Floyd's death at an interfaith gathering at City Hall.
Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
Floyd's dying words in 2020 became a rallying cry for protesters in the days and weeks that followed. The 46-year-old's death brought vows of police reform. This week, the Department of Justice ended investigations of police departments, including Minneapolis, also canceling a proposed consent decree for the city, which would have brought federal oversight of policing. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry is pushing back.
We're doing it anyway.
Derek Chauvin and 3 other former Minneapolis police officers were convicted in state and federal courts on charges related to Floyd's death. A few conservatives have called for a presidential pardon for Chauvin, but Minneapolis police say it's unlikely.
In 2021, then California Representative Karen Bass introduced the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. The bill addressed a wide range of law enforcement policies, practices, and created a national police misconduct registry. It passed in the House but has not seen any traction in the Senate since, so the question remains, has the effort fallen short? Our Juliette Goodrich spoke with civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who represented the Floyd family.
It is my belief that it's always a journey to justice. And sometimes you take 2 steps forward, and then sometimes you take a step back. But we must always keep our eyes on the prize, and that is making the words in the Constitution, the words on the courthouse walls, real when we say equal justice under the law. And so, Juliet, it is always going to be a work in progress. I think it's always going to be a journey, not a destination. And so as long as we prepare our minds to say we can help become a more perfect union, then we win.
And coming up, Bay Area home prices just hit a 3-year high. I thought they were on their way down. We'll tell you why after the break.
Later, a more vibrant community with a stroke of the brush, how one artist is adding more than just color to the town.
Now you can get your KPIX news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
Out toward Alcatraz there. Well, the country's most expensive housing market just got a little bit pricier yet. New data shows that home prices in the Bay Area hit a 3-year high last month, bringing the median price all the way up to $1.25 million. Wow, nearly $300,000 higher than the next highest market, Los Angeles. All of this is as mortgage rates continue to climb, so it's kind of counterintuitive. Usually the mortgage rates go up, sales go down. Inventory, however, has gone up. So it's a tough environment for any first-time home buyer. And here with us now is one of the authors of that report, Tim Yee, a broker with RE/MAX. Tim, I don't know why you're here on a holiday weekend, but I'm glad that you are. Thank you for joining us. And tell us what is behind this surge in prices. I would think a higher inventory and higher rates would mean lower prices, no?
Yeah, it's kind of an anomaly. And I think what it is
the good houses in the good neighborhoods are still selling. What we're seeing though is our pending sales are actually at a 3-year low. So there's less sales. The ones that are selling are the ones in the higher price ranges where people actually aren't worried about the economy, aren't worried about their jobs. So I think that's what causes the anomaly. We're definitely at a 3-year high in inventory. So I'm not sure how long this is going to last. There's still some instability. Everybody was waiting for the interest rates to drop, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. Let me ask you, by the way, is this 9 Bay Area counties, or is this just San Francisco?
So it's pretty much across the board. San Francisco, actually, the inventory in San Francisco is a little bit less, but the rest of the 9 Bay Area counties, the inventory has increased. So, yeah, it's pretty much across the board. This is our buying season, so we would have expected to see more pending sales that we're not seeing. And I think that's because of the uncertainty in the interest rate markets and the uncertainty with the job market. But once again, the good properties and the good neighborhoods are going to sell, and that's going to create that price anomaly.
Okay.
We'll see how long it lasts.
I mean, you know,
too much longer like that.
At the stratospheric prices they are right now, I mean, more than $1 million, well over $1 million as a median price. You know, what if you're freshly arrived to the Bay Area, you're a first-time home buyer, let's say you're in your 30s, you're starting out with a family. What are you supposed to do besides be born with rich parents?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, though. A lot of the people that are coming here are coming into the tech industry, and they have bonuses and stock options and things like that. But yeah, it's kind of crazy for a first-time home buyer. I have personally worked with first-time home buyers who, pay cash. So.
Well, but still, what would they do? I mean, I can't imagine what they would do. I mean, I would think, well, I guess you're going to have to buy a condo somewhere on the outskirts of the Bay Area to even start if you're not making crazy tech money.
Yeah. I just talked to a teacher the other day, and he has to commute 2 hours in.
Oh, jeez.
To work in Silicon Valley because he can't find a place to live. So really, it's the haves and the have-nots are able to buy right now, and that's keeping the prices high because the people who can do it are making that median price go up. There's just not as many sales. The low end is falling off. The super high end is a little bit stagnant right now. So it's kind of that sweet spot.
Yeah, if you drive down 280, or am I thinking 85, down around San Jose, they've got all of these units that are going up down in Santa Clara County. Isn't that making any difference in terms of lowering housing prices, or are those also priced just through the roof?
Yeah, they are priced pretty high. There are a lot of units. A lot of people don't. The young techie single people are attracted to those things for the low maintenance. But once they start having families, the condos don't work for them too much. So then they try to go into the single family house market.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You say the next 30 to 60 days are going to tell the story of the 2025 housing market. Why are the next 30 to 60 days critical? I think I know the answer, but I'll let you answer.
Well, we're in our buying season right now, and so far the pending sales have not gone up like we expected them to. The interest rates have not gone down. Obviously, there's a little instability in the national scene, and so I think if things get a little more calm, I think we'll start seeing some sales pick up. That's what we're hoping in the industry.
All right,
and that's what sellers are hoping.
Okay, we'll see that in the next month or two. In the meantime, by the way, Bing Crosby's house is for sale in Hillsborough for just $40 million. So if you got that in your back pocket, you might want to have your clients take a look.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
so there's a buyer for it.
It's a gorgeous house, but it doesn't help people starting out. That's the tough part. Tim Yee of Remax. Yeah, Tim, I appreciate you taking time on this Memorial Day weekend. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the real reason for high real estate prices in the Bay Area.
It is going to be a fantastic weekend weather-wise. We've already done a third of it. How did you like Saturday? Sunday and Monday are going to be very similar, but a couple of things to discuss. Weak little systems from the Pacific keep passing by California. There's one of them. The next one is going to get here on Monday. So of the holiday, Monday might be the more interesting weather day to discuss. We'll do that, and then we'll look ahead to a pretty noticeable warm-up at the end of the 7-day coming up. Okay, we're going to start out the forecast talking about something I said in the last section of the news, where I said Monday might be the more interesting day of the 3-day weekend. I'm going to show you why I would say that. Real pretty satellite image. This is North America right now. You can see the night side satellite imagery over here. Those are all the city lights. You see this patch of cloud right here from eastern California into the desert? Take a look up at the radar. This is live updating radar right now, and there's lightning going on in the Sierra. That's from a weak area of low pressure that skirted overhead yesterday, made it a bit breezy here, deepened the marine layer and threw it farther inland, but that was really about all it did. However, there's another one like that coming on Monday. Let's go find that one, because that one might also make its presence known a little more. So watch what happens. This is what we're looking at here, that system with the lightning. That leaves. Keep your eye over there. Here comes the next one. Now, that is another cold front. Now, the rain falls apart. We are not getting rain on Memorial Day weekend. I don't want to give you that impression at all. But there is a cold front that's going to sweep across the bay early Monday morning. Watch that line of clouds. You can clearly see the front, and then it falls apart as it moves across the bay, and it's pretty much done by like 8 in the morning in terms of the cold front passage. And then once it clears, you're going to get more sunshine than anything else throughout the day on Monday, and Monday may actually even be a little bit warmer as far as the thermometer is concerned. But there's one other aspect that's going to do for Monday. It's going to make it a bit windy around here, and I just want to show you how that will probably play out for Monday. The streamlines are really going to start turning on. The streamlines are the way we visualize the wind, and that's probably what we'll look at here for Monday, because even though when we get to the 7-day forecast, you'll see the temperatures will go up a little bit on Monday. It's sunny and a little bit warmer, but there's going to be a little bit more of an onshore breeze. The closer you are to the coast, you're going to feel it more. So there could be a little bit of a wind chill on this. Having said all of that, it's still a great looking day. The whole weekend really is working out quite nicely. Let's bring it back and go in order. I want to show you what's going to happen here tomorrow morning, because we've been having a bit of the marine layer that's been redeveloping once again for much of the bay. And when we take a look at how the clouds are going to build back in the overnight hours, this gets us into tomorrow morning. This is your Sunday. So it's going to be May gray. We're going to wake up. The clouds will probably even get all the way back out to the Tri-Valley. And we've got Carnaval going on tomorrow, and it'll probably be a mix of sun and cloud there as the clouds kind of break up as they move overhead. So plan on starting the day with a little bit of marine layer gray. And then if you're inland, those clouds will pretty much melt back completely, and you'll get plenty of sunshine. But if you're anywhere near the water, marine layer probably hangs out for a bit. So the city, west half of the city, probably never really clears entirely tomorrow, but the east half probably will, including the Mission, where Carnival is going to be going on. Bottle Rock looks great, by the way. All right, so that's covering tomorrow. Let's get into that 7-day forecast now. I'll show you what to expect in terms of the pattern. And it's the end of the 7-day where maybe the most interesting of the whole forecast shows up. We're going to go from Wednesday in the mid-70s, 10-degree bump to Thursday, and then another 6-degree bump from there. We're going to be back at 90 again. And that's coming by the end of the week. So for like the next 4 or 5 days, it looks great with temperatures staying in the mid-70s, low 80s. And then you get a bit of a warm-up as we approach Friday and Saturday. You see kind of the same pattern for the bay, but the temperatures, as always, not really quite as extreme. All right, guys, back to you.
All righty, thank you, Darren. And coming up, mixing culture and craft, one muralist's message to his community.
It's very important to me to be able to authentically create works that symbolize the culture, but also have a contemporary twist on them.
Welcome back. Our Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month special kicks off at the top of the hour in just a few minutes, celebrating their legacy and leadership.
Tonight, we have a preview of one muralist with a message. Here's Ryan Yamamoto.
It feels like a real personal blessing, a personal honor for me.
In a city he calls home.
So we're in Oakland, Chinatown.
Sorrel Reynos Sway uses art to help lift Bay Area neighborhoods.
You know, this is a 3-story building. We're up here on a lift. I think the building's 50 feet tall. It's just like a giant painting, but it's so much fun.
His latest project happening at 10th and Harrison, on the side of an apartment building in need of color.
So I wanted to incorporate like a really traditional element into the piece, and so the vase is the very traditional element. So this is a real fusion of kind of like traditionalism and contemporary styling.
We're inside his home studio.
Definitely my happy place.
Sorrell finds joy creating the concepts that will soon grow into full-blown projects.
My mind is spinning with ideas all the time and kind of sorting them out in my head.
Where he plays with colors and his culture.
This is my name seal, so that's Cui Xiaorui, which is my Chinese name. I love the intersection of the old and the new and kind of embracing those traditional elements, but trying to create a new language in the work.
His work can be found all across the Bay Area.
It's a special, colorful piece, identifies a specific cultural hub here in the Richmond district.
Each mural representing the history of every neighborhood.
The Kids on the Bear is a famous photograph that was in the newspaper. The residents told me that if you ever lived in Sunnydale, you sat on that bear. And so it's a great ode to the past.
And from honoring the past to looking at the present, including this giant piece in San Francisco's Chinatown, commissioned by the Golden State Warriors and the NBA for All-Star Weekend this past February.
It's a celebration of Chinese culture, the New Year, and basketball. It's very important to me to be able to authentically create works that symbolize the culture, but also have a contemporary twist on them.
And what do murals do for communities and neighborhoods?
Well, murals contribute a lot. I mean, murals are art and art is culture. And so, you know, when you're walking around and you see a beautiful artwork that inspires you, that moves you, that means something to you, I just feel like it contributes to society at large.
That connection to culture is the reason why the Oakland Chinese Chamber of Commerce commissioned Sorrell.
His artwork is beautiful.
To paint not one, but 2 murals this year as they look to beautify the neighborhood.
He is able to create art in a way that tells the story of Chinatown and helps to create a sense of belonging for the Asian community.
A community Sorrell is proud to put his name on.
It says Cui Xiaorui, which is my Chinese name. It always feels good to put your name on it and feel like we finished it.
A final signature for a signature piece getting the stamp of approval from the owner of the building, Sunny Kong.
I like it. Yeah, happy with that. Okay. Yeah, much better. Everybody know on the Chinatown, the bigger one right here.
A giant mural.
That's my stamp.
A piece of art for the neighborhood, now giving everyone something to look up to.
And the Oakland Chinatown Chamber of Commerce hopes to add a total of 10 new murals in the neighborhood by the end of the year. And our special Legacy and Leadership celebrating AAPI Heritage Month is next. And thank you so much for watching. We will see you back here at 11.
Good night.
Good night.